Well, given the fact that you did just mention a number of former Barca players, let's get to another former Barca players when we get to the rumour mill now, because there's been lots of transfer rumours, obviously some transfers that have already been completed, which we'll talk about as well. But Neymar to Saudi Arabia, obviously this one going ahead now, when it did look as though he might be going back to Barcelona. And I'll get to you on that fact in just a minute, Janusz. But Rob, back in England, would there have been an interest to bring a player like Neymar, given the fact that he wouldn't be sticking around at PSG?
The short answer to that is no. And if there was interest in from the Premier League, then he probably wouldn't have gone to Saudi Arabia. The speculation is that he was offered to almost every big club in the Premier League, to City, to Man United, to Arsenal and to Chelsea. And no one thought that they could fit him in. And that is for a couple of reasons. One, the money involved in bringing him in, and also the type of personality that he is. There's no question about his talent. That's obvious. It's been obvious whether it's Barcelona or PSG or with the Brazil national team. That the question with him has been about temperament. And when you look at just one club, Man United, who probably could do with a player with that skill set, their manager Erik ten Hag has focused very specifically on bringing the right characters in. And one of the reasons why Neymar probably isn't at Old Trafford right now is because of his character. If there was interest from the Premier League, from the big clubs in Spain, possibly even Italy, then he certainly wouldn't be in Saudi Arabia. It's obviously a lucrative move because of the money involved, and I'm sure that he will do very well there. But still, the place to be for a footballer of his age is Europe.
Yeah, and obviously all the reports were saying that Barca was his preferred destination if that were able to go ahead, even with the figures that were being touted. But obviously Barca were finding it difficult to sign him. They're just registering players just before kickoff in the new La Liga season. So you can see that was never going to be easy, Janusz. But we've had a question here from one of our viewers saying, is Neymar the biggest what if in history?
One off, that's for sure. And that's where I have a problem with this. It makes me sad a little bit because, this is another example of, talent's not everything. Ronaldinho comes to mind, although I think of Ronaldinho as a much, much better player than Neymar anyway. But we all know about maybe lack of drive, professionalism, whatever you want to call it. A lot of injuries as well. I don't know why he's getting injured. I'm not there, but, I could guess. If he had maybe the professionalism of, I don't know, Cristiano Ronaldo and looking after himself and doing absolutely everything to be in the best shape ever, I think Neymar could have been talked about at the same level, really, of the highest. If you talk about Pele, Messi, and Diego Maradona, because even Diego Maradona found a way, and Neymar hasn't. So I can't put a finger on it exactly what it is because I don't know the man. I respect him. I wish I had an ounce of talent that he has had. But I put this under a very, very sad story of a player that had so much more to give. And I think when it's all said and done, he is going to be in that category, what if.
Okay, let's move on to talk about the Moises Caicedo deal, because it did look as though Liverpool might steal in and get this man here, but it was Chelsea in the end that was his preferred destination, the club that he wanted to go to. Rob, what are your thoughts on what we've seen overall on this deal and the fact that it's the fifth highest transfer as well in terms of figures and in terms of money spent in history?
Yeah, I mean, it's an absolutely massive deal, and particularly big because he's not been in the Premier League that long. It's not so long ago that he was making his debut for Brighton. It's still a very, very young player, and I think everyone will know that he was Chelsea's top target all the way through the summer. It's taken a little bit of a roundabout way of getting done, obviously with Liverpool coming in with a bid that was accepted. I think Caicedo himself has made it quite plain that he wanted to go to Chelsea and to no one else, and I think that's probably the biggest factor. I think Brighton have done amazingly well with their recruitment to get Caicedo through the door initially, but also realising that they couldn't keep hold of him and reaching that point, and then also making sure that they got a fantastic deal for him. Brighton are the type of club who are going to live and die by the transactions they make with the squad when players are leaving, and really for a player like Caicedo, as good as he is, they've got absolutely top dollar for him. So Brighton will be happy. Caicedo will be happy. He's got his big move. Chelsea have got their top target, and Mauricio Pochettino will hope that he's the guy to really boost that midfield and make sure that they can at least get into the top four next season.
Fans are asking here, Janusz, and it's something that came up on the FC TV show. And just a reminder to those of you who don't know already, that QR code that you can see in the bottom of your screen, make sure to scan that, and that will lead you to the ESPN Plus page where you can see our show, FC TV, 365 days a year without, of course. 7 days a week. We are always on with all the talk like this, and we'll always be telling you what's coming up on that show as well. But it's a question that we've had here from a viewer, Janusz, and it's a question that we've asked on the show. Who realistically needed this player more in the middle of the park? Liverpool